Welcome in, Phoenix Esports family, to week 3 gaming right here. We got High on Meeps versus the Spartan Shields. It's Yanni and Romeo on the cast, but we're really surprised by that. Romeo, we got two teams that really couldn't be too much farther apart in the standings.
No, we really have just two teams. One undefeated team in Spartan Shields, 4-0 right now against High on Meeps, who are 1-4. So yeah, we're on polar opposite ends here. We have High on Meeps, who are clearly the underdogs coming into this match against a team that is yet to be beaten.
Yeah, and who knows? Anything can happen. High on Meeps looking to shock the world. And listen, you play a best of 3 for a reason. You always have a chance at that second game. And if they take one, well, you go to the third game. But everybody knew that. It's a tall task ahead of them, but they may be able to get it done. There are a couple of concerns, though, especially the bot lanes here. It doesn't seem like they stack up very well.
No, it really doesn't. Going over what we've seen so far, High on Meeps' bot lane champ pulls don't exactly clash all that well together, whereas Spartan Shields' bot lane have been running rampant throughout Phoenix.
Yeah, the biggest concern is that Singishia, the bot laner from Meeps, they play a lot of immobile champions, and on the other side, Sir Comet, all hook champions, baby. I'm kind of expecting it to be a very long day for them because somebody is definitely going fishing. We are into the draft. See a couple of bans on the board. It's Garen, Vex, Tarek getting taken out by the Shields. Meeps, they're going to get rid of Blitzcrank, Vagar, and Nocturne. So already trying to pinch that support pool a little bit.
And the first pick, by far the greatest jungler in League, although it can be flexed into other roles, Maokai picked up for Spartan Shields. That's a huge first pick that goes unbanned on blue side. You're going to get Maokai. You can build him tank, or the primary build right now, AP. He does a ton of damage, ton of health, but a pretty good pick to counter it from High on Meeps. They've locked in Trundle. It's most likely Trundle jungle. Again, could be flex top, but not bad with dealing with Maokai. How do you feel about this so far?
Well, really the biggest question that I have here is, are the Spartan Shields going to be able to execute this highly contested meta pick? And are High on Meeps, are they going to just run over everybody with Trundle? Trundle is one of those champions that at this level of play can get out of hand quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the big problem with Trundle compared to Maokai is Maokai can fall behind and still do a lot once he builds his demonics and Leandries and whatnot. Trundle, if you fall behind on, you have the alt button, and that's about it. And how often are you really taking 1v1s as Trundle in the jungle?
Couldn't agree more with that. We see Rel is going to be the pickup for High on Meeps in their support role, but to nobody's surprise, Sir Comet going to pick up one of their hook champions. They're going to opt into my personal favorite, Thresh.
Thresh is locked in, and it is a great pick from them. Of course, one of the best parts of Thresh isn't just the hook, but also having that lantern to get anyone out of sticky situations can do a lot in this game.
And they immediately followed up with a Jinx, a champion that could find themselves in some sticky situations without an escape.
Yeah, the fun part about Jinx, though, is she gets fast real quick if you get a kill, and she can get super excited and just kite out whoever High on Meeps really decides to pick. Looks like they're going to be locking in Varus into the Thresh and Jinx lane. How do you feel about that? Varus and Rel on the side of High on Meeps.
It seems pretty good to me, my friend. I think Varus from long range can really do some damage, try to keep himself safe as well, because that Thresh will certainly be coming after them quite a bit. Another immobile champion, as we mentioned. Going into the second half of bans, Victor and Malzahar are gone. Both picks for both of these mid laners, so trying to squeeze those pools a little bit and force somebody on something a little uncomfy.
Yes, they are. We've seen the Rise pick on Spartan Shields has gone pretty hard for them in the past, and that's left open. Wouldn't be too surprised if we seen it pulled out, but we're going to have to see what High on Meeps picks first. They're either going to be revealing their top lane or their mid. I think top's a little bit better here. Or actually, probably mid's a little bit better because you can flex Trundle if you want. But they're going to have to choose one lane right here to blind. Who do you think they're going to pick up here for a blind pick?
I'm not quite sure. Probably somebody that's pretty decent in a Rise. We've seen Cassiopeia has been a pretty good counter pick into that. I'm not sure if that's quite in the pool. Ziggs can be good enough, and we saw some... well, you didn't quite see some very big Ziggs play the last time out. With the boys league. You missed those games, sadly. We had a crazy Ziggs over there, but that'll be the pickup here for Donut, and it's definitely in their wheelhouse Now, my biggest question, do you go with the Rise here?
It's tough because if Rise leaves lane, Ziggs takes your tower. That is why you pick Ziggs into the Rise. It's not for the matchup, but and we are getting to see this Rise pick. Now, anytime Rise uses that ult away, if Ziggs is in lane, he pushes the wave and knocks down the tower. His bombs can take it. There's a lot Ziggs can do into Rise. It makes it a really scary lane to play if Rise plans on using his ultimate to rotate and help out Jinx and Thresh, or whoever they have in the top lane. But overall, it could be really good for Rise if he just destroys Ziggs, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, that Run Warp can get you around quickly, and FCG, they had a friggin' crazy game on Rise, 12-0-7. It was, it's crazy because the Spartan Shields, they've shown that they can, make it a group effort or they can have a solo carry, and they're going full speed ahead on these carries with Camille locked in.
That is I think it's a really good pick from them, really intelligent. It's a nice early pickup that Trundle can't do a lot into if they try to do a flex that. Also, They needed an early game champ, and yeah, that's a Jax versus Camille lane. That's going to be spicy.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen Jax getting picked up more and more in pro play because it can fight with pretty much anybody. Again, you're the purveyor of the top lane. Jax versus Camille. Well, who comes out on top on that one?
Oh, God. If I had to guess, perfectly played, I think Jax is really, really strong this patch and can do a lot into Camille. It'd be really dumb if he couldn't and they locked him in. But, it can really go either way. It's a very much whoever gets the first kill is probably winning the lane, but it's also going to be a bloody lane pretty early on. I don't think really there's a whole lot. Hextech Ultimatum is going to be really good for Camille once she hits 6, but of course, standing next to Jax is a painful match to be in. But first 3 levels going to be huge for the top lane on both teams.
Yeah, and really it's just going to be a measure of who is going to get ahead, and it's going to really dictate how the pace of that top lane, and by extension the game, is going to go. Now, interesting thing to note here, when you take a look at these team compositions, this Trundle has 1 target for that ultimate, and then the Spartan Shields, it's kind of shields down.
Yeah, I can agree with that. They do have Thresh to act as another front line in a way, but it's not.
Stop.
It works.
No.
It does work.
Thresh is not a tank.
He's not a tank, but he can frontline. If Maokai were to go down.
He's like your off tank, right? But like when your off tank has to be your main tank, it's not really where you want.
But the main thing too is Maokai's already not as tanky as he used to be with the new AP build. So comparatively though, you have Trundle Jax at the front line for high on Meeps. Really no team has a hard front line. It is Maokai, Thresh, Trundle, Jax. Once Trundle ults Maokai, it's almost an even front line between the two teams.
One other concern I have here is that Spartan Shields, while they've drafted they've drafted really strong champions, right? Thresh, Jinx complement each other well. Maokai is strong, Rise is strong, Camille is strong. Other than they're engaged though, other than that, Maokai ultimate is a little lacking. It's mostly pick related in game.
I think the way Spartan Shields has to play their comp, they're a very objective-oriented team. I think what you're going to be seeing from Spartan Shields is they're going to be going to these objectives. They're going to be going to the Heralds, the Dragons, and they're going to be setting up with the Meeps. You're going to have Maokai and Thresh walking together, setting up Vision, setting up, not Meeps, sorry, saplings in every bush they can find, and not ever let high on Meeps walk in. That's the real con with Spartan Shields. They even see you trying to walk in, a nice Thresh hook will end the life of anybody on high on Meeps. Which means, if you're high on Meeps, the only way you ever contest an objective is if you're there first. Otherwise, you have to trade, because you're not walking into Maokai Thresh. It just isn't happening. So when it comes to
they do have a lot of poke, though.
They do. That is something they do have. It's just, I think Spartan Shields have an easier comp to play in that regard, because despite all the poke high on Meeps has, you make one wrong step and end up in a Maokai W or a Thresh hook, and your life is over.
Yeah, I mean, this Varus, the Ziggs go down, it's going to be a problem. However, if they're able to get to objectives first, they can let Jax cook in a side lane, have Varus Ziggs to kind of keep the team pushed off and let Jax do his thing. And even in 5v5s, Varus and Ziggs soften them up a little bit, Rel with a big engagement. I like what they can do here. It requires some setup. Two of these teams, they have some fundamental issues to them, this level of play. One of them is really good when it comes to scaling, and the other one's really good when it comes to poking. But as you and I have seen, teams can sometimes forget to play to their win condition.
Yes, they can. I think that is what may determine this game. If both teams don't play to their win competition, I actually think High on Meeps has it off Raw Champions because there's so much they can do outside of their win composition. You can have Jack split push. You can have Zig split push. You can just stall out fights for one of them to take towers. But the thing is, the only real way they win a team fight at an objective is if they're there first. Whether or not they'll be able to do that is questionable, but I agree with what you said. If they're not there first and they're able to just delay, Jax has good split push potential, Ziggs has good split push potential, and they have a ton of poke. I think these comps are very evenly matched. Like, it's hard to say which one's a little bit better than the other. I genuinely think this game really comes down to a skill difference. So, we'll have to see how that's going to go. Obviously, Spartan Shields right now are the top dogs. That doesn't mean that on the Summoner's Rift, High on Meeps can't pick up a win. They've already been to a game 3 this season. That's why they're 1-4. So, going into this game, Yannick, who would your prediction be? Do you think it'd be the Spartan Shields to take the first game, or do you think it's going to be High on Meeps to take the first game in the best of 3?
I think it's going to be the Spartan Shields, and the biggest thing is we didn't really highlight this jungle matchup too much, but there's some fundamental issues here, right? So we know Rise, Jinx, Camille takes them some time to scale. They can be abused early, right? How is Trundle going to capitalize? It's going to require this role, Narshal, to roam around and make plays happen, or we're going to need to see some incredibly placed pillars by Dorgard. But on the other side, Purple mid laner in the jungle is just going to be able to point and click on enemies, and it's easy pickings.
Yeah, I do think that is a very, very solid point. Again, Spartan Shields definitely have the easier comp to play if they play their comp right. That's without a doubt in my mind. The one thing is, Trundle is such a strong low elo. And not that this is low elo, but anyone can play Trundle well if you just know fundamentally how League of Legends works. And because of that ultimate, it's so weird for me to say this, but my gut is telling me High on Meeps have a very good chance at taking this game. Just because of their champions, I think clash really well and give them a lot more they can do, even if they're behind. I think that's perfect for an underdog team.
Yeah, I think that any of these teams, it would be a great sight to see High on Meeps take a game off Spartan Shields and really invigorate their standings. And love to see what happens when we go and hit the Rift. We are in the spectator delay, and do not despair when we return. Game 1, High on Meeps, Spartan Shields on the Rift. You and I, and everybody else. All right, friends, we are on the Rift for the first game of this evening between High on Meeps and Spartan Shields. Remember, Spartan Shields looking to continue their undefeated run. High on Meeps 1-4 right now, looking to pull themselves up from the doldrums. Romeo, I know we talked about it a lot, but now we are in the game. Any interesting rune choices that catch your eye or anything like that? I don't really think so, personally.
Yo, wait, actually, yes, I see one that catches my attention, actually.
Hold on.
And
I have... Did FCG happen to go water walking on Rise? I know we can't see that. We don't, we're not a high level production like LCS or anything like that. But if you remember, there was a little dust up earlier in the week about perks using water walking on Rise because it gives you like infinite mana.
I'm not sure.
You don't know about that? Do you know about that?
I've heard of it, but I don't think.
Yeah, you can just step into the little river part near mid lane, and and you just get a bunch of mana regen because the way Rise's passive works with water walking. I don't necessarily think that's banned in this league, but I mean, that'd be kind of BM.
He does not have water walking, no.
Okay, good.
I just looked. He has Transcendence. He has Mana Flow Band. He has Gathering Storm.
Now my question is, why don't you have water walking?
Well, yeah, competitive integrity. He's a solid guy. He's not gonna do anything to cheese his opponent. He's on Spartan Shields. I don't think he believes he has to. Maybe if we see a game 2 that High on Meeps picks up game 1, we could see it. We definitely could. He also might not know, because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know much about it until you said it.
You see, I'm always paying attention.
Now,
pay attention to this trade up in the top lane. Berserker just living up to their name and eating kimchi for dinner right now.
Going back to the rune points, I've noticed that Trundle took Lethal Tempo, which isn't weird, but I have also seen Press Your Luck and Conqueror do quite well. It's just more of what you're going for. And I kind of think here that, like, when we get later into the game, if Trundle falls behind, that Lethal Tempo isn't going to be as good as something like Conqueror.
Yeah, and the Conqueror certainly help you out in the middle of a fight. The Lethal Tempo could certainly help out with those early skirmishes. We see Norgard showing up to the mid lane. It's a pretty nice pillar, but again, as we mentioned, the CC isn't really there between this mid-jungle combination.
And the other thing with Phase Rush Rise lately is when you're ganking a Rise, it's so hard to actually catch him because once that Phase Rush is proc, he's outrunning any champion going for him.
He'll have no shot catching up to him. See a little bit of bot lane action. Things are evened up on each side, although I like Flamin' Shock's decision to go with 3 pots here, especially into the Varus.
3 pots will do him a lot of good considering how hard they can poke. And realistically, you want to be healthy for when Thresh hits that hook.
Off-screen, Berserker using that teleport as things went well in the early going for them, but they started taking the bad end of some trades and had to take that early back. They went and picked up a dagger, but again, no teleport. Kind of a shame, especially with the way it went early on.
Yeah, but that means they do have a dagger for any skirmishes they want to take early, and once Trundle, who's pathing his way up to that lane, comes, that could be the difference between an extra auto attack.
We see a hook landed, the choppers went down, but the flay did not get them into it. The exhaust goes down, there's some ignites, some heals, and it's first blood going over Sengisha, who flashes away and gets autoed by Sir Comet. So a 1-for-1 overall, but the kill going to the AD carry of High on Meeps.
On one hand, you pick up the first blood. You're gonna have a little bit of extra gold over the Jinx once you get back to lane. The only problem was right at the end, Sengisha burnt their flash, which means now they're down a flash to Flamin' Shock, which could come to bite them in the ass as this game goes on.
Especially against the Thresh, you have to know you're one auto attack away from death. Save it and live to fight another day. Oh, well. This is
Speaking
somebody
of
who couldn't save their flash. And King Kimchi trying to find a way out using that hook shot creatively, but a solid gank from purple mid laner. You can see the impact differential in these ganks. FCG still has their summoner spells available to themselves. More trading up in the top lane, but it just feels like that's all it's been, is just a bunch of punching back and forth, but nothing definitive yet. We're like in the third round of a heavyweight boxing fight.
The one thing we have noticed as a little bit of a gap going on to that top lane is Jax is over 10 CS down, and there's still a massive wave crashing into King Kimchin right now to further that CS gap if they can claim a lot of that CS up there.
And you know, moments before disaster, here comes purple mid laner. Leap strike from the Jax. He does have his flash available. Kimchi wanted a piece of that, but purple mid laner did not elect to go in with the twisted advance. So then they let Jax off the hook there.
To be honest, that gank is just looking to get some of the pressure off Camille so she can claim some of the CS. It looked like they had a little bit of an issue. I think purple mid laner wanted King Kimchin to commit to the gank, but they were looking to farm up that wave, and ultimately nothing happened there. But Kim Kimchin pulling out that TP now and is coming back to lane. Jax is level 6 right now, but half health, so not a lot we're going to see happen up there.
Yeah, and that's an 8 CS lead for King Kimchi, so you'll take that. You'll take that despite everything that's happened, despite how rough some of the trades have been. Ends up going over in their favor, and CS everywhere else, we see Singishia has a very small lead over Flame and Shock, which isn't too surprising, given that Jinx is more of a late-game champion and Varus can certainly poke from downtown.
That is completely correct. Right now, we're looking to have a little bit of a skirmish over this dragon. High on Meeps are able to get there first, which is exactly what their comp wants to do to prevent them from being able to set up those saplings and whatnot, but it looks like they're just kind of dropping the pressure on it.
Now Ward's going to spot out purple mid laner, so they know this Maokai is on the bottom side. Dorgard hanging around the bottom side as well. This team's definitely trying to make a play on Dragon. Other than the earlier bot lane play, all's been quiet.
Yes, it has. Just real quickly, Snow, you do have your cursor right in the middle of the screen right now. And I think chat has noticed. If you can just like move it to the side, please. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sorry
the cursor
to
currently
sorry
doing
to
a
laugh at our producer. Thank you for pointing that out, everybody. You know, we aren't always able to see that, you know, but when we do pay attention to chat, thank you, Romeo, for that. And we see King Kimchi once again coming in on the better end of the trade. They've opened with a Sheen compared to the recurve bow of Jackson. Once you have that Sheen, you just can't compete.
No, the Sheen is really strong. It's Camille's first power spike we're going to see before what most likely will be the Divine Sunderer. And that should help them win trades over Jax pretty easily until we start seeing the ultimates get broken out. Now, the thing is, Berserker's TP is up shortly, which might give them an advantage if they can get some of the CS gap back.
Yeah, it all depends on how fast that wave gets pushed in, how fast Berserker is to get there, but you can see that Sheen is the big difference between a CS gap that's almost doubled up right now at 8 minutes.
Yeah, a double up is not what you want to see. Luckily, the gold is still on the side of High on Meeps, mostly thanks to that first blood earlier and the Varus CS gap, but it's only 100 gold right now. It's right now anybody's game. Both objectives are on the map. We have the Rift Herald up. We have the Inferno Trick. I'm curious to see who's going to make the first attempt at getting one of these objectives.
I'm curious to see who's going to make the first mistake. We already see King Kunchi pushing up, and Dorgard is in the area. Dorgard has their Sheen available as well. They're looking to make their way in for this gank. Can they disrupt the hook shot? Looks like we do see a stun go down. The pillar goes down to force King Kimchi off to the side. Flash burnt. King Kimchi able to find a way out, but a good gank from Dorgard.
Unfortunately, the ultimate, the level 6 hit a little bit late, so we weren't able to see the ultimate to start the fight. I think if Dorgard's able to start the fight with that ultimate, that Camille goes down. The one thing you'll notice Dorgard did was hold that pillar as long as they could, waiting to see the hook shot, and they were able to get the stun off almost perfectly. It was such a well-executed gank from High on Meeps there.
Yeah, Berserker timing the counter-strike super well there. See purple mid laner dropping their ultimate in the pit. They want an engagement here onto Dorgard. Ultimate from Ziggs gets dropped. FCG gets there first, and FCG will be able to take out the Trundle. But here comes Berserker. They're able to pick up a kill. Superman Death Rocket lands and does a lot of damage. King Kimchi now joins the fight, and Donut has nowhere to go in the middle of the pit. 2 kills for Rise, 1 for Camille, a pair of assists for Jinx, and a Rift Herald for the side of the Spartan Shields.
And you were asking when the first mistake was going to be made, and it looks like that Herald happened to be it for High on Meeps, as 2 kills are claimed on the side of Spartan Shields. Dorkard going for that Herald when Camille's almost back. If they wanted to go for that Herald, it kind of had to be started right after that top gank because you had Berserker with half health. No, it really can't. The rotation was really quick on the side of Spartan Shields. Donut did everything he could to follow, but unfortunately, without Jax there and that Jax being half health, there's not much you're going to be able to do when you're going on that Herald.
Somebody put together a banker Rise skin because so much gold right now for this mid laner. Almost 3,000 gold in the pocket, sitting at 4,500 right now, which is the most in the game by about a country mile.
Yeah. Rise looking like Tom Nooks right here as he is taking all the loans he can everywhere he can on the map at the moment. That first back he's going to hit right now, he's going to come back with some nasty items and potentially be able to just steamroll the lane. Of course, his ult's up. He's ready to impact other sides of the map. He didn't use it on his way to Herald there. So every lane right now needs to watch out for Rise getting ready to use that ultimate.
Yeah, and you know those bells are going to toll for High on Meeps shortly. You already see that he has gotten 2 items now, that Rod of Ages plus those Sorcerer Shoes. Purple mid laner dropping down the ultimate is going to root up Donut, who used the satchel charge to try to force back the Maokai. Donut has to flash over the wall. FCG almost picking up another.
And that's one of the best things about Spartan Shield's comp right now. They have so much lockdown. You get a target isolated and you're able to just snowball the chain CC until half their health bar is gone. Donut, of course, using that flash really well to keep himself alive in the lane. But a little bit of a return.
Dorkard, I don't think you win this fight.
Yeah.
The pillar down and had to get out of there, cut and run. Fly under the turret here from Sir Comet, but Flame and Shock not around. Can't really do all too much, although Maokai is waiting in the wings. If you leave him interested, throw a hook, get a lantern in, you'd be okay, but Sir Comet takes a whole lot from that area.
Already early into the game, but Sengius, yeah, doing a ton of damage right now, and oh my god.
Oh, FCG is going for it. Is going to be able to pick it up, but it's so damn tanky. This early into the game took so many turret shots and comes away with kill number 3.
The pros of having Roa so early into a game is you can do things like that. That's going to be the 3rd kill onto FCG, and it also means that High on Meeps are going to lose the first Inferno Dragon, most likely.
Does it? Narshal gets in there, double knockup, drops the ultimate, and it's stolen away by Dorkard. Singishia able to free hit, gets hooked, but is okay. Purple mid laner hops on, but here comes FCG, sees a lot of low health targets. Kim King Chi teleported in. He's going to pick up 1. He's going to pick up 2. No, that one's going to go over to Jinx, and the flash from Dorkard will be able to get them away. It's another fight that goes a little oddly on each side. Ultimately, the dragon goes to the side of the Meeps.
And you gotta give... Oh my god, wait a minute.
Oh, Donut, no, bro. It's breakfast time, and they're eating Kim Chi. 3-0.
That is a 3-for-2 trade on the side of... Oh, sorry. A 3-for-1 trade, I believe, on the side of Spartan Shields. Of course, the Inferno Dragon picked up by Dorkard. A great smite coming from Trundle there. But yeah, you might have gotten that dragon, but at what cost? A large gold lead just developed on the side of Spartan Shields. In fairness, it is 1.4k, but that gold is going to mean a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot right now. It's almost 2,000 now because plates are still up, and FCG is just able to free hit without a care in the world, really. I mean, 12-0-7 last time out on the Rise and was left up for game 1. The Meep said, do your worst, and FCG said, okay.
Yeah, I mean, FCG right now is looking like the ultimate carry for his team, but up top, we got 2 fights breaking out right here.
Sir Comet could be in trouble, does have flash available, and will be able to get out. King Kim Chi up a level, and you can see the chunks are starting to come through with that Divine Sunder. Berserker, though, is going in for it. This is a really close fight. Who's going to win? King Kim Chi is going to come away with it. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, we see a stun go down. Big shutdown. That Rise goes down, and there's going to be another kill. Flame and Shock picking up Narshal, but Singishia picking up that Maokai. So lots of trades going back and forth, but a big shutdown going over to Dorkard.
I gotta be honest, in terms of the fight top lane, I really don't like what happened. I don't really understand fighting someone who has a mythic over you. However, in that river, things could not have gone better for High on Meeps. They picked up a big shutdown on Rise. I suppose it could have went to someone like Varus or Ziggs, but it's still looking good on Dorkard. Dorkard coming back with that Divine Sunder, which means more plays can be made on the map, and he's going to have a much bigger impact as these ganks keep occurring. But yeah.
I'm really liking the position that Sengishi is in right now. 3-2-2, has the Mythic. Sure, Flame and Shock has theirs too, but Sengishi is now not in the greatest position in the world. Gets hooked right into the chompers, taking a lot of damage, but that shield bow might be enough to save them. Narshil drops the ultimate, and they turn into the tables on him. They pick up a kill. Sengishi and Narshil in hot pursuit. Sir Comet doesn't have a flash, has been slowed, and they are going down. Double kill for the Varus in the bot lane.
It was a trick as old as time, but the fairy tale got reversed after a single Varus Q.
I never doubted him for a second.
No? Really? You're telling me right now you thought that Varus Q was just gonna outright kill Flame and Shock?
Whoa. That was an interesting choice there by King Kimchi, but again, very nice play in the bot lane. Tell me about that bot lane play.
That bot lane play, I mean, it's so hard to expect how much damage a Varus Q is going to do. I think everyone watching was really the ones in shock when we seen that Varus Q brought out. If you're playing from Sir Comet and Flame and Shock's perspective, you have the perfect lane gank onto Sengishi when he pulls up the lane. Rel's following a little bit far behind him. They got a ton of chip damage out. But the thing is, he had shield bow up, and Varus is just such a strong burst champion. If you can't survive that initial burst, it's going to turn badly for you. And now that play allows High on Meeps to do so much. They really have a win con brought up by Sengishi after what just happened.
Yeah, they were able to even up the gold total as well as they were able to take out the first turret. We see second Rift Herald going to the side of the Spartan shields. They made good usage of the first one. We'll have to see what they do with the second, as they've got a lot of people up top here, and they're trying to funnel everything into this Rise.
You know what you have to notice, though, on High on Meeps? I want you to go ahead and take a look at Jax's item here.
Oh.
He's built Nashor's Tooth while behind on Jax.
Oh.
That is...
Oh, this is an interesting choice. Romeo,
No.
tell me. I mean, again, you're the top lane guy.
I mean, like... It's... From what I've heard, it's good. Because of the AP ratios on his ult and whatnot. But the thing with Jax, right? And I'm not sure if it's changed with the new, the way the new Jax works. But... From my understanding, you only really want to go AP Jax when you're like steamrolling your lane. Otherwise, things like Divine Sunderer just do so much more on him and allow him to get back in the game. And right now, this is most certainly a behind Jax.
Listen, regardless of what it is, man, I've never seen this choice of item on this champion, so I'm hoping to see some fireworks. Good flash from FCG. It gets him away from two ultimates. They'll be able to walk out without too much of a problem, but now the Maokai ultimate gets put down. Here comes the teleport from behind Berserker trying to come in. It's a bit of a split fight here. Berserker has a good opportunity here for a good counter-strike. Is going to land on a couple members, and Dorgard on a killing spree. They'll trade 1-for-1. Sengishi able to free hit, but a lot of damage going down onto Dorgard. Narshil trying to front line, but they're going to be taken down. It's a double kill. Dorgard flashing in, is able to pick up 3, but it's a triple kill for SCG. Flame and Shock flashing forward, trying to get excited, and now Donut between a rock and a hard place. They're going to flash to the side. They might have an opportunity to make a play. They step up. They're going to throw the bomb. They're going to die, and it's going to be a double kill for the Jinx. 3 kills for the Rise. It's a full house of kills, and an ace for the side of the Spartan Shields.
What a bloodbath just went down in that bot lane. Of course, the prize of Hextech Dragon going to be picked up here from Spartan Shield. You now have a fed Jinx. You now have a fed Rise. You already had a fed Camille. And I think the biggest problem with High on Meeps there was just the target selection. They left Rise and Jinx. It was so hard for them to get onto that backline because of Maokai, because of Camille, because of Thresh, that it was just so easy for them to just fire front to back and take out all of High on Meeps.
High on Meeps, the hyper carries are carrying. The Maokai's doing his job with the great engagements. And you can't help but wonder if this Jax had a more traditional item, was a little bit tankier, may have had a bigger impact in that fight with that Counter-Strike.
I think it definitely may have, I don't know if it would have changed the fight per se, but with the way he just dove into the middle of them, I think it would have done him a lot of good to have something like Divine Sunder at the moment.
He got blown up. It looked like Ezekiel Elliott snapping the ball to Dak Prescott. He got blown up.
Oh my
We're going to see Donut might get blown up here, but Berserker trying to turn the tables. FCG coming in with the teleport here. Sir Comet as well. King Kimchi running away. FCG is on a rampage. You can see how fast he's moving. The slows are getting put down. Donut taking a lot of damage. Couple of holes left in that Donut, but the slow from the pillar just enough to force the Rise. The rest of the Spartan shields off.
You know what that just proves? A donut only works when there's a giant hole in the middle, and Rise just blasts that hole in there. Probably tastes very well, but it looks
Narshal. Like... Oh no, man. Narshal's gonna drop the ultimate, try to walk it out, but it's far too slow. Sangeesia with a great ultimate, they're gonna be able to get a kill onto King Kimchi for that. The root comes out. Will they go for the dive? No. It will hold off and take their victories where they can get them.
I gotta be honest, Sangeesia though, hurt that play from a losing one to a winning one. I think a Camille trade for a Rel is really good if you're Sangeesia. Of course, you get another kill onto your ADC for an own.
It's a shutdown too.
It is a shutdown, I believe. No, was it a shutdown? I don't think so.
I think it was.
No, I'm checking the chat right now. It was in fact, because
man, Riot's so weird, man.
Well, no, she was just shut down in that bottom fight, right?
Yeah, but like, I figured that she had a big enough shutdown that, you know.
It was 400 gold on the Varus. I mean, Varus has 2 items. He's looking to pick up that third.
You'll take
got Shield Bow, got Ginsu's. I think they're working on a Wit's End at the moment for the Rise, if my guess is correct. Which, this Varus right now, if you are high on Meeps, you want to just keep funneling as much gold as you can into Varus and make sure this is the champion who's going to carry you. Every fight right now needs to be based around Varus.
Hit yourself to Sangeesia wagon, baby. You know, you better get on this bandwagon quick. 7-3-2 has been a big surprise after, I mean, you know, the fact that the map kind of fell apart all around them. The light and the darkness. Team's only down about 3K. It's 21 minutes into the game. So it's not impossible to make it happen. But this poke strategy that their team has gotten, they haven't executed it that well.
No, they haven't. Sangeesia seems to have been doing everything he could, but right now it feels like they're playing a lot of the fights with half their team trying to escape and half their team wanting to go in. And I think they just really need to get on the same page here if they're going to be turning these fights. And one of the biggest things this team can do to help them really have a good time in this poke fights is finding a way to get Mr. Moneybags Rise's gold on to Sangeesia. If they can get that 550 gold shutdown onto their Varus, he's going to be so much stronger, probably finish off that Wit's End, and have so much more damage when it comes to these team fights.
And really, they need to shut down this Rise because he's got 10 pages in that ego book. And you know what happens when that ego book gets big.
When that ego book gets big, you're praying that Rise is going to take a TP into the wrong spot, because once it hits 25 pages, that Rise becomes a murder machine more than he already is.
You ever get smacked with a textbook in high school?
I got smacked with a textbook earlier today.
So it feels kind of like that. Sangeesia's going to drop an ultimate down, and this Maokai just melts. It's a very, very quick pick. You see a teleport from King Kimchi, but will they be able to further engage the fight? FCG trying to do what they can to get close. They'll get the chickens, but the real prize, the tree, has been chopped down.
Yeah, have you ever shot like a magical arrow through a tree? Because that's what it looks like, man. What
do you think this is, Inuyasha? That might be too old of a reference for you.
Is that an anime?
Yeah. Bro, this was like a 90s anime. Like, this anime, like, when I was in 5th grade, in 4th grade, like, I would wake up in the morning and this anime was on. So like, that was 17 years ago.
I missed the first 5 episodes of Sword Art Online.
Oh, well, you know, that's okay. You should go watch them. Sword Art Online is fantastic, and listen. I might catch a lot of hate for this, but hear me out. Sword Art Online is a great starter anime for somebody who doesn't know much about anime.
It was my
If you try to delve exactly, if you try to delve too deep into it and really overanalyze it, that's where it's not that great. But I just want to preface that with, I'm not a heathen of some sort.
You know, Arcane's a great anime. Let's get some hate in the chat here.
Yo, listen, all right. Listen, Arcane is fantastic. Don't let anybody tell you differently. What's not fantastic is this Berserker build, but let's see if it comes online. You can see Kim Ki takes a lot of damage. Wait a minute. Donut able to pick up a kill. It's a good ultimate from the Rel. What's going to happen? FCG is kind of untouched here. Dorgard trying to get on top of him, but everybody's falling apart. Sangeesia was left to die. The fight is split. The Rise ults to the other side. It's a double kill for FCG, a double kill for the Jinx, and it's deja vu all over again, my friend. The two carries putting in work.
And that's the problem we're having with high on Meeps here, especially when it comes to this Jax build, is yeah, that Jax build might be good at putting out damage, but what you need to do in these fights is keep Senjisi alive. We've seen how much damage the Q did before he went down, but without that arrow up, you're not winning fights, and that arrow can't be up if Senjisi is on a gray screen.
And the protection just was not there. Rise came from the backside, too many people up front, and you really had to pick your poison, and Senjisi just ripping everybody apart on the backside. 22 stacks of the Ego Book has that Frozen Heart to boot.
Frozen Heart is going to be really good at shutting down some of the auto attacks from Varus. And if that Trundle gets on top of him, it's going to take so much longer if you're going to kill that Rise. That Rise is a 1,000 gold on him right now if he is left alive. You need that gold on Ziggs, or preferably the Varus, and you need it as soon as you can.
You just need to kill him. You don't really care at this point because he's got so much damage right now. This Rise is 433 AP, which doesn't sound like a lot, but then you remember it's Rise, which is a champion that generally doesn't have a lot of AP. It is mostly the passive doing a lot of the extra damage, and you know, this is bad. This is dire straits here for high on Meeps as we've gotten into the late game. So the carries for the side of the Spartan Shields, this is where they shine.
The biggest thing with killing Rise comes with him losing 50 AP. 10 stacks of his Ego Book go straight down the toilet and are lit on fire in front of him every time he dies. So killing him greatly decreases that large 430 number of AP sitting on him. The problem is he's level 17 now. He's
so tanky.
4 items, tanky. He's building his last item right now until he decides to sell Maya's once he inevitably dies, I want to say, but I don't even know if that's true. He might go the rest of this game with that. He went,
what, 12-0-7 in his last game? Like, why do we think he's going to die? This is already the over on deaths for him.
Yeah, it's more deaths than usual. You have a point here. And of course, Rise isn't exactly a champion who's running into the enemy team. He's in a pretty safe spot behind Maokai, Camille, and Thresh, which has been the biggest problem with High on Meeps to deal with. They can't get past that front line, and they won't survive unless their back line goes down. So the question is, what do they do to win a fight? And without a good angle, it's... But how do you poke without Camille jumping on you is the problem here. And of course, Maokai really puts a dent into that poke.
Oh, for sure. And, they have to kind of work on getting vision here, and it's super difficult for them to do. They really just aren't able to put down that vision without it getting cleared out. I mean, this is a situation where, you see Ziggs go to clear the mid lane. Singishia can't really step up to fire any arrows. And one thing about Singishia is, while they've had a fantastic game, they're level 12 compared to the level 13 from Flaming Shock and the level 17 of this Rise, by the way. As the Baron gets started up here by the Spartan Shields, high on Meeps, maybe looking to try to find a way in, but I think they're just going to let it go. They're dimly aware that this is happening. Maybe a Ziggs bomb gets thrown, but there's no contest there. The Spartan Shields take that one for free.
That's 1,500 more gold, bringing us to over 5,000 in the gold department for the side of Spartan Shields. And now, of course, the Baron power play is going to give them a nasty push. We've seen towers stay really even up until this point in the game, but right now...
Donut. Oh, no, man. As Gordon Ramsay would say, you donut.
You do not want what just happened to your mid laner when the other team has Baron.
I mean, the Baron minions, they take less magic damage. So it's not like Donut was going to do that much, right?
You have 2 wave clear champions on high on Meeps here. One of them is dead. One of them is dead, and the other is waffling in mid lane when the top turret gets taken.
Oh, the other one's about to die in a second. Gets hit with a hook. Combo that with the purple mid laner. And Sangishia, the Immortal Shield Bow is going to proc, but it's not going to be enough. Narshal can't really get in there, along with Dorgard. The teleport coming in from Jackson actually he stopped the teleport. And the rest of the fight has just gone bad. Actually, no, he didn't even teleport. I'm sorry, that was Camille's teleport. Regardless, things fell apart very quickly for high on Meeps. It looks like this game will end with a whimper.
It might end with a whimper, but if Donut can have anything to say about it, he'll try to make it end with a bang. That Inhibitor turret is going to
Oh.
fall, and oh god.
Oh, FCG trying to go for it, but a big shield, and Berserker can do nothing but fall beneath them. That Rift Maker not going to be enough to help them out. Just the Ziggs left standing, although Sangesia is up in 2 seconds, but the assault on the Nexus turrets has begun. Nexus turret number 2 going down. Really, they know no defense can be had. They're just trying to pad some KDAs here. The Nexus will finally fall, and Spartan Shields, it was close for a while, but they pull away in the second half of that game.
Yes, they did, and unfortunately, High on Meeps going to be the ultimate underdogs going into the second game of the best of 3. And a lot needs to change if they're going to look to win that. They picked a hard-to-play comp, and honestly, it didn't get played particularly well. It was, as you said, they needed to do a lot of poke, but once you have a Maokai on the other team, poke becomes exceptionally difficult, which means kind of drafting the Varus and whatnot was a little bit more difficult, as we've seen when the game went on. It's not really something I noticed in draft until we actually seen it occurring. So yeah, it was just a really difficult game for High on Meeps to play overall. And of course, Rise, holy crap, man. That guy had more money than anyone.
That dude was Jeff Bezos incarnate. FCG, a very scary Rise, putting the league on notice. But I did like the fight that High on Meeps showed in that early to mid game. So they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. We'll see if they're able to bring that fight again in game 2 after being kicked into the dirt. We're going to go and take a very short break. And when we return, we'll give you the draft for game 2. Spartan Shields and High on Meeps. Alrighty, I told you that was going to be a very short break. Welcome back, everybody, to the Phoenix Esports League. It is week 3. We're going to head into the draft for game 2 between High on Meeps and the Spartan Shields. Yanni and Romeo still bringing you all the action. Romeo, let me ask you something. What does High on Meeps need to do in order to get a win here? Because you see, they have the tools. I just don't know if they got the toolbox.
So here's the thing with High on Meeps. First 15-20 minutes of that last game played amazingly. They really brought a fight to Spartan Shields. The problem was, as the game progressed, they didn't play into their win con at all. They needed to be peeling for that Varus. They weren't peeling for that Varus. We had Jax diving in. The build was obviously questionable, and we're not playing to the poke. So that needs to change. They need to draft a win con they're comfortable playing with, and I think that's what we're going to see change in draft a lot.
Well, we haven't seen too many changes in the draft. High on Meeps sticking with the same bands. Vagar, Nocturne, and Blitzcrank. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Spartan Shields made a slight adaptation. They're leaving Tarek on the table, but they have banned out the Varus, which I think is a pretty smart call there.
I think it is great they banned Varus and Spartan Shields. It was the biggest problem they were dealing with. Take that thing out of the game. I think it is disrespectful, though, for High on Meeps not to ban the Rise, to be honest. I think that's very, very disrespectful. Like, after what we've seen come out of that Rise in multiple games.
Do you think the Spartan Shields can pick it in the first, in the early rotation, not let it get to the second half of the ban phase, and just kind of deal with the fact that a team can counter it?
It's hard because like Rise does have a lot of counters, but also there's so much that Champion can do regardless of his lane matchup. And we've seen the way that they picked Ziggs, and Ziggs didn't even really get that middle turret till much later in the game. I think, honestly, if you're Spartan Shields, it's something to consider.
Well, we see a couple more picks coming through. We saw the Caitlyn first pick here for High on Meeps. There's a little bit of a difference here, but I like it overall. I'm on the Sangishia train. Meanwhile, Jhin Maokai, we're seeing Maokai come in once again for the Spartan Shields. It wasn't that effective last game, but its ultimates were pretty good. And then we've seen Swain Malzahar as that champion got through this time around.
So Malzahar being picked mid lane in the first three after you already see what can be a supporter jungler. Spartan Shields, their answer is pretty good. You got Victor. I mean, Victor can do a lot into Malzahar. You're not really going to be letting Malzahar ult you without wasting that flash. And he scales so damn well.
Man, I like the range that Spartan Shields are bringing. Jhin Victor has some pretty solid range to it. We're not going to be able to see the Rise this time around, which is a little sad, I'm not going to lie. But Swain, Caitlyn, Malzahar for High on Meeps. The Swain Malzahar combo seems particularly annoying.
Swain Malzahar definitely can do a lot. I think Caitlyn Swain also, if that is the bot lane they're going with, is really strong. Caitlyn's proven to be one of the most oppressive bot laners. And considering how hard the bot lane was carrying last game, I think Caitlyn's a great pickup for them. If they're able to just keep shoving and having whoever their jungler is camp their bush, not let Maokai touch them at all, pick up as much plating as you can, and just funnel as much gold as you can get on Caitlyn. And Malzahar here is here to kill.
Oh, Trundle, Set, Camille, and Gangplank gone. So High on Meeps, clearly they don't want to deal with a nasty top laner like that. No support bans here. I wonder if what they're gonna pair up with this Jhin against this Caitlyn Swain. Looks like Karma will be the selection here, which isn't too surprising, as Karma Jhin has been fairly popular lately.
I think it's a really intelligent bot lane duo. It does a lot. Obviously, Jhin gets the extra damage with the speed up. They're a great combo in itself. It's going to help you dodge any of the Swain hooks. I'm blanking out of the ability name there, where he just throws the hand at you, grabs you, and pulls you in. The never move. Thank you very much. So it's going to help them evade that a lot more. So I think it's a really good pickup there.
Oh, what about this pickup? We're going to see the Darius come through. And I believe Yuumi hasn't been nerfed yet. And I don't really think they're going to... The problem is, like, you can't fit it into the team composition, but that would be fantastic to pair up with Darius. So now what are they going to do here to kind of unlock this Darius? It feels like there's not too much support you could use.
It's a daring pickup, if you will. Of course, he is going in blind to that top lane matchup, so I think we're going to have to see Darius play very well to that top lane matchup. But with a Jarvan being picked up, it makes High on Meeps engage quite strong, to be honest. They really have a team that can get in your face and stay there if they want, while Caitlyn soaks a lot of damage. I really like their team comp this game.
Hear me out. This is a Ghost Flash Darius game. This is a Darius game where you want to get in there and take advantage of every opportunity. Jarvan, a very classic jungler, a fantastic ganking jungler, much better than the Trundle from last game.
Absolutely. I think, first off, your idea of Ghost Flash Darius, incredible this game. If they don't go, they're kind of mad. It will be great for the team fights as we get into the game. And I think what you have here on High on Meeps is a team comp that is looking to stall a fight long enough for Darius or Caitlyn to pop off, while you got Swain sitting there peeling for Caitlyn, never dying. You got Malzahar, whoever the biggest threat is, you press ult on them, get one shot, and you have Jarvan, who just does a great job at being their engage. They really have a formula here to do something, but as for Spartan Shields, I'm curious to see what their counter is. It looks like something wasn't picked there.
Yeah, it's Ornn. So the draft laws kind kind of messed up a little bit, but it will be the Ornn pickup for the Spartan Shields. So they're gonna accent their engage with the Maokai, follow up with another big engage. I must say, looking at Darius and Jarvan, I'm a little scared if I'm Jin Victor.
Yeah, I think you have to be. I mean, Jarvan has 3 levels to affect top lane before that Orange starts playing passive and scaling for the team fights, really. There's a lot they can do with Maokai, but I think Maokai's also going to be pathing bot. It really, to me, looks like bot lane is what's going to make or break this game. And yeah, if you're Jin Karma, Jarvan's going to be a lot more oppressive than Maokai is going to be helpful until you get into those team fights. So it is really on the Spartan Shield's bot lane not to let Caitlyn have anything. You don't want her to be picking up extra kills, but also you want to be close enough to your tower where she can't get the platings from. Because nobody likes a Caitlyn who's picked up 5 platings regardless if she has a kill or not.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting they pair it with a Swain instead of like a Lux, but I kind of like the Swain pick here, and especially into Jin Karma as well, because Jin Karma can push out a little bit of punishment themselves, but once you get rooted by a Swain, it just feels like it's hopeless for you when that happens.
Oh, absolutely. And we've seen how hopeless it could get for them when even just a Chains of Corruption came out and stunned one of them in the wrong time. I have to say, High on Meeps' bot lane was the most impressive part of the team to me in that last game, and I think drafting around them is a really smart decision. On the other thing I noticed on High on Meeps, in my opinion, I think they kind of drafted 3 winning lanes. I mean, mid is questionable. Victor definitely is going to do a lot more with its scaling, but I think Malzahar fits his position in the team so much better. So, I'm in love. For some reason, I'm just in love with High on Meeps' draft here, and I think Ornn and Darius, I mean, it can go any way in the first 3 levels, but I think Darius is a slight advantage. And I can definitely see if it's a Ghost Flash Darius, him just getting those 5 stacks and popping off in a team fight once they're low health.
Yeah, I kind of like the High on Meeps team composition as well. I think Darius Jarvan give plenty of room for Caitlyn to go untouched and follow them up. I think pairing the Swain with the Caitlyn, it's just things that make your star player that we saw in the last game really, they should have a much easier time. Now, again, at Victor Laser, those can still come through at some weird opportunities before they really start 5v5ing. But on the side of the Spartan Shields, I must say, you take a look at this jungle matchup, the Maokai is just very clearly better than the Jarvan. I'm interested to see what kind of impact this Maokai is going to have, because last game we know it was so-so.
I genuinely think Maokai and Spartan Shields can make or break this game. As on Spartan Shields, you kind of have 2 decisions. A, you can try to stand your ground at objectives and team fights, which doesn't seem like it would work the best to me, considering how High on Meeps wants to work. Or you can really heavily play for a disengage into a re-engage, which I think puts so much pressure on Maokai Karma to get their team out of the team fight while the Darius ult either fades out and the Swain ultimate fades out, and then re-engage while they have nothing up. Which, if Maokai Karma can do it, there's no chance High on Meeps really has in team fights, but it's a tough thing to do. It is insanely difficult, but if they can play disengage very well, poke them down while they're running away, and then re-engage once it's too late for them, Spartan Shields do have a winning team comp for team fights.
Well, Purple mid laner, last game out, they had 3 hyper carries that did their thing. So all Purple mid laner had to do on that Maokai was just whatever they had to do. Drop the ultimates, drop the twisted advance. But now with a 2-threat composition, they're going to have to work a whole lot harder and make sure that they're able to make more of a damage impact on the team composition, as you see Maokai has been able to do. We are in the spectator delay, which means we're going to take a very short break. And when we return, we'll be on the rift for game 2 between High on Meeps and Spartan Shields. High on Meeps trying to force a game 3. Alrighty, welcome back onto the Rift Phoenix Esports League family. High on Meeps, Spartan Shields. The sides have been reversed this game, so High on Meeps, they're on the blue side this time around, while Spartan Shields are on the red side. A couple of interesting draft choices, as we mentioned earlier. So ultimately, we didn't really talk about it too much, although you did really say you liked the High on Meeps draft. Do you think they won the draft, Romeo?
Objectively, if we're looking at 5 or 10 challenger players, no. But in terms of a comp that's easier to execute, which I think is something very important when you're not 10 challenger players, yes, I absolutely think that the way their draft is, it's not only easier to execute, but it has a real focus around their strong suits, which they needed going into this game.
I'll have to see how that pays off. As you saw a little bit of a cheeky invade there, they're only able to take out a ward as Flamin' Shock was not AFK eating some Doritos or something like that. They were definitely around at the computer. That's my biggest pet peeve when I'm playing solo queue or something like that. Somebody goes to sit there on the invade and they just die because they were AFK. Like, sit in a better spot.
I was in promos earlier today and had somebody give up first blood because they were AFK during an invade.
Can't do that. You gotta be aware. It looks like the blue off is going to be started by Dorgard. They're going to head over to their side. So we might see vertical jungling. It's not as advantageous as it once was.
Well, actually, we might be seeing a level 2 gank here.
Oh, I think we are. They're going to be able to pull in Flamin' Shock here. Dorgard is trying to predict, ready to go. Flash from Flamin' Shock could have been really dangerous. I'm going to flash in a bit of a better direction, but a solid gank from Dorgard early.
You know, if Dorgard really was going to pull the trigger there, they could have flashed after the flag and still caught Flaming Shock. Regardless, a great gank. You're going to get an XP lead on your bot lane, and Flaming Shock's flash is down. And now that he's vertical jungling, which I think is great for their comp, there's so much you can do in this game.
Maokai hovering over near the top side, though. And this means they're going to make a beeline right for this top lane because Berserker is the one pushing in, but oh, it looks like Purple Mid Laner doesn't want to go. Listen, I thought he was going to go up there and help his boy out.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of has to. King Kimchin's already lost Flash. He's getting pushed under the tower. And, to be honest, like, he's only taken...
Oh, I just noticed something.
Yeah.
Look at Berserker's summoner spells.
Yeah, it's Ghost Flash.
Let's go!
Baby, we got the Ghost Flash. He needed it.
Who said play-by-plays don't know anything about League?
I don't think anybody, but if it makes you feel better, I'll say it right now.
Oh, trust me, there was a whole meme. You know that Civil War meme with like the Avengers and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one for like play-by-play casters and color casters. It's fantastic.
It's just because like color casters are objectively better. That's, you know.
Whoa, easy.
Anyways, back to the game. Let's do our jump.
Catching strays out here, man.
You know. Like,
strays out here.
Look, mid lane, there's some poke going on. You could be talking about, there's a Nevermore.
Oh, Narshall knows what they're doing on this champion. You just saw that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, so sweet. All right, they know what they're doing. And again, we mentioned the immense pressure that they can put down is really going to help out Singisia here. And look at the CS lead they've opened up early.
Yeah, that CS lead is also heavily dictated by that early Jarvan gank by Dorgard. He was able to get them just so much of the wave to be frozen because Flaming Shock lost their flash.
Good early stuff here from the side of High on Meeps. See if the Spartan Shields can answer in any way. Purple mid laner hasn't done a whole lot except for take some jungle camps, really. But that's what you do on Maokai nowadays.
I mean, even with the jungle camps, though, he's still behind in CS to Dorgard, which is a little bit surprising and worrisome if you are Spartan Shields.
Donut's going to have some problems. They're fresh out of mana. They got to teleport, but, they don't want to use it. And King Kimchi pushing into Berserker now. Talk to me about this top lane, right? Who's traditionally the winner here? Because it seems like Darius, is such a lane bully.
In early levels, I think Ornn can definitely have an advantage. I think Ornn's kind of slept on when you look at the first 3 levels of the game. But after that, Darius becomes so much stronger, especially once you hit that level 6 power spike, where virtually without Maokai, odds are Berserker's winning every fight he takes up there. The thing is, Kimchin does have a level lead on him right now. He's elected to back, he's probably going to TP back to lane with some items, but once we see those two hit level 6, it should be Berserker's lane to lose.
We know that Dunk can do so much, especially with a fully stacked passive. But as you mentioned, Ornn pumps out a little bit of damage of their own. You can see more positive trades here for the bot lane of High on Meeps. Hopefully, they've picked the facilitating champions to allow Singisia to shine.
I think in terms of draft, they definitely have. They just need to play to their wins cons. I don't want no jacks building Nasher Tooths this game if High on Meeps are looking to win. You know, if I see I swear to God, if I see Darius build some weird crack shit, I can hear Singisia blowing a fuse. You know.
Listen, man. There's a reason why the team name is High on Meeps. He was high on something when he picked up those items.
But yeah, right now I think their bot lane just doing so much to facilitate an early gold gap. We got Swain too, who's been stacking his Ravenous Flock really, really well. He's already at 8 soul fragments. It's an extra 100 health, 6 minutes into the game. I think they're just doing a really solid job down here.
Yeah, that extra health is a huge help this early in the game, especially. That's like 2 auto attacks when you factor in your resistances. So if there's a fight that breaks out, I mean, that's why Swain always seems so deceptively tanky. It's because he is.
Yeah, I mean, he literally has a ruby crystal in items right now. In just his passive. Like,
I have brain rot.
What's the show there that's called Ruby, but it's spelled like, is it?
Oh, RWBY.
Yeah.
That's the Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
I guess you could call it an anime. Blue. It's considered an anime.
They did Red vs. Blue, right?
They did do Red vs. Blue.
It's actually just a spin-off of League of Legends where every match is Red vs. Blue, no?
No.
Yeah, no, it's just that. No. Champions talk to each other. There's a guy named Church who... I can't spoil that, actually. Never mind.
You know that Halo came out before League of Legends, right?
I do know.
You're young, but you're not that young.
Red vs. Blue came out before League of Legends.
All right, yeah, I know. I'm just making sure you know that.
I grew up on Call of Duty and Gun. Shout out to anyone in this chat who knows the original PS2 game Gun, by the way.
I've heard of it. I never played it. My PS2 game of choice was Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, you know you could build a nuclear bomb out of the PS2? Like,
What?
Yeah, and they're trying to build a nuclear bomb out of Victor.
I don't know if you should, don't tell me how you know this. Don't tell anybody how to do this. This is not a science experiment we want to really undergo here.
You know what a science experiment that Spartan Shields wants to undergo?
What's that?
Getting that Victor as much AP as he can. He's slowly, right now he's doing everything he wants to do with just perma-farming minions, and no jungler has affected him.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's been no fights in the river or anything, so, obviously, Malzahar, at times, will be able to get the push when he's got mana, so that allows him to roam first, but no worries here. Everything's good.
No, it's just been a really peaceful Summoner's Rift. This is the complete opposite, by the way.
You want to know how exciting?
What we've seen last game.
You want to know how exciting things are?
How exciting?
I just got a text message that said my New Jersey tax return was accepted. I'm so hyped.
Oh yeah, that's what you're excited about right now. I'm excited.
It's the most interesting that's happened in the last couple of minutes, but you know what? That's okay. Because we will have a little bit of action up in the top lane. We see a Ghost burnt. Berserker wants to go for it. Fully stacked. Dunking on him. Dropping the Decimate and picking up first blood. Thank you, Berserker.
What a play, too! The Ghost and Flash, perfectly executed. Like I said, once those champions have ult, it's Darius' lane to lose, and that is a big first blood if you're high on Meeps.
Absolutely. That's going to get the team energized. We went about 9 minutes with no action, which, to be honest with you, might have been the longest lull of action that we've seen in this league so far because these teams are so willing to brawl. Purple mid laner looking for something on the other side of the map, but can't find anything. And Dorgard starts up the Rift Herald.
And I don't think they know that he started it up yet. They might, because it looks like they are. Are they going to trade Dragonfort? They're taking a lot of time. They won't be able to if they keep waiting. And the vision control right now on High on Meeps, you'll notice, is very, very strong on both the top and bottom side. They have vision on everything right now.
Everything the light touches is theirs right now, Romeo. Rift Herald going to be picked up by Dorgard. Pretty massive here. It's a small 800 gold lead right now, but so far the recipe for success is there for the Meeps.
and there was nothing taking by purple mid laner during that time. They were able to just sneak that Rift Herald, and no punishment happened. They didn't lose any camps. They didn't take Dragon. He just sat around that mid lane, not mid lane, sorry, the bottom river, clearing vision. Really, that was the freest Herald I've ever seen in my life.
No, that Herald wasn't free. That Herald was earned, my friend. Give some credit over to Berserker, getting the pressure up in the top lane. Purple mid laner just elected to make a play somewhere else. They earned every bit of that one.
They did earn every bit of it in that sense. Berserker did open up the entire top lane to allowing that play to happen. But I do think it is not great if you're on the side of Spartan Shields to not go for anything during that time.
It's a little rough, but, you know, it's okay. It's okay. The Jin's going to scale. The Victor's going to scale. Though Jin has been having a bit of a rough time. Down 35 CS is just a shell shock here in the bottom lane. You see they're getting this push in. Don't know if they're going to drop the Rift Herald or set up for a gank, but Dorgard has been spotted. It looks like they're just going to drop the Rift Herald and try to cash out, get some more gold on this Caitlyn.
I don't know if that's the best thing you want to do here. You might have wanted to save it for when those platings were a little bit lower. Be able to get some raw platings on Caitlyn first, but oh my god.
King Kimchi, is they okay? Got that dash to get out of there. It's no big deal. Rift Herald left a little bit to be desired there. It was only one plate.
Yeah, I think you want to hold it for at least another minute or so. See if Caitlyn can rack up some more platings on her own. She is one of the best champions in the game at taking platings, and they already have such an advantage over that bot lane, a 40 CS gap almost on the side of Senjisia, which is one of the other big things contributing to their gold gap right now.
Oh, looks like been pulled in. Built over Peacemaker lands. No ultimate dropped by the Caitlyn, though. So they're going to force Flame and Shock back.
Yeah, and once again, we're having a little bit of a lull, but they know the enemy team is backing, which makes this the perfect time to pick up a Mountain Drake.
Another well-earned objective here by the side of High on Meeps. It's Narshall this time around that's putting the squeeze on in the bot lane.
And because of that squeeze and forcing those backs, it's a free... What? Sorry, I completely forgot that. Is it 6% armor there?
Yeah. Listen, sometimes the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah, I guess it is, and I mean, 9% armor and magic resist. That might
it's
not.
9% now.
It is 9% now. It might not affect a whole lot.
When did that happen?
I think when I think that just happened when the dragons got their buff.
Bro, I thought I paid attention to the patch notes, man. But like, I guess I don't. I still got a lot of work to do.
PvP caster like flexing on how much he pays attention. Also, PvP caster, it's 9%.
Listen, you didn't know it was 9% either. Hold on.
Hey, we're not talking about me here. We're talking about you.
6%. I just thought that you were right. Listen, bro, you're the color caster, right? I just have to assume you're right half the time.
Well, yeah, just assume I'm right about this gank not working.
Well, that was a good call there. I think you might have already seen it coming, but it was a good call. Dorgard burning the flash out of FCG though, so that is pretty huge. And Donut still has that Nether Grasp available. Next time around, FCG might not leave alive.
It does mean that as soon as Cataclysm's back up, we're probably seeing a repeat gank from Dorgard. The second victor is even remotely out of tower range.
You might not even need the Cataclysm. You flag and drag with the Nether Grasp, that should be enough. We're going to see both mid laners back and drop the double TP down to the mid lane. It's like nothing ever happens. They're both pretty even on items here.
Yeah, they both have their Leandres. They both have their boots. They're both just living the poke life. The thing is, Victor does have a level up on Donut for the time being.
And take a look, some top laning items picked up. Anathema's Chains for the side of King Kimchi. A good first option here, especially given the fact that Darius is causing some problems. Meanwhile, Darius with the Stride Breaker, we're starting to see some of these mythics come out on the side of Meeps. Radiant Virtue plus Gale Force for Jarvan and Caitlyn respectively.
You really said, hey, I know you want to have some fun, Berserker, but I'm here to buy items for my team, and I can't do that yet. So you're not doing any damage to me. I'm not doing any damage to you. Let's have some farming. Which, for Kimchi, is exactly what you want to do. Honestly, for all of Spartan Shield, it's really what you want to do. You just want to scale up and get ready to try to play team fights the best you can.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been really impressed with High on Meeps' play so far. This is a really surgical game, and they've gritted hard to carve out a 2,000 gold lead. And the aggression that we saw from Spartan Shield's last game has been dissipated completely.
Yes, it has. And I think it's worth mentioning here. Jarvan just picked up Radiant Virtue, which You can go Gore Drinker on him, but I've seen Radiant Virtue build a lot more on a lot of champions lately. And I think for what their team wants to do, which is very heavily playing around the Caitlyn Darius and keeping your team alive in fights long enough for you guys to just strike off and delete everyone with of course, the dunking Darius and just Caitlyn's sheer amount of auto attack damage. I think Radiant Virtue is a really intelligent buy. It's going to do a lot for keeping Darius' health up, and it's going to do a lot for keeping Swain alive when he's diving into those 5 men later into the team fights.
These Bulbasaurs have almost evolved, but once they do we think it's really going to change much of anything here, Romeo?
Oh god, no. Not a chance. With how even it is, with them both being on the same stacks, you can't even be like, oh, I have the smite advantage over you. It's just, yeah, we both have the same evolution at the same time. Because realistically, when it's the health evolution, like, it's a great evolution, but it just means you can maybe take, like, an extra turret shot at best, which this late into the game isn't changing much. And when it comes to the smite advantage, that's probably the best part. But when they're so even, I mean, they're going to get the upgraded smite at the same time.
You saw that trade in the top lane just a moment ago. That is the power of Pine Sol, baby. Pine Sol, in this case, being Anathema's chains. You can tell Berserker taking a little bit more damage now.
Yeah, he is. The one thing I fear for this the top lane and the mid lane right now is they're against opponents that help their team scale very, very well. And when you have Darius got first blood, which is really good for him. But he hasn't done a great job at keeping Ornn away from minions and away from getting the XP of them. And he hasn't been able to get an additional kill on Kimchi, which he probably won't now that the Athemas is brought out, right? So I think Berserker needs to change his playstyle a little bit to try to prevent Kimchi from getting any gold while this game progresses. If they
Could
want
be
to
a
keep their
catch here
advantage.
on the Flame and Shock. Teleport coming in. Ultimate getting dropped down by the Jhin. Teleport got canceled. We see on the other side of the fight, FCG in a lot of trouble. Couple ultimates burnt to try to take down the Victor. So low, and Dorgard picking that one up. Other side of the fight, Donuts cleaning up a kill. Another one for Dorgard, and high on Meeps. A fight finally breaks out. They take advantage. A 3-for-1.
Yeah, a really well played fight by them. We've seen Jarvan just in the face of anyone who wanted to do damage. Victor was nowhere near his team, had no legs to stand on, and of course, neither of their tanks were at that fight, which meant you're not really going to have anyone to hide behind if you're Victor or Jhin, which is exactly what you need when you have 4 people just diving on you. And of course, I think one of the biggest things to note as well is not only do they get a oh wait.
Oh, whoa, that was... Animation canceled his apprehend with a flash to make sure King Kimchi wasn't pulled in. Both summoners burnt from Berserker. King Kimchi burning a flash as well. I called the Forge God, not quite landing. So overall, I mean, Berserker made the executive decision to make sure King Kimchi couldn't go anywhere and did not pay for it.
No, he didn't at all. And I mean, Berserker now, I mean, everyone is down sums in the top lane. I think that could be good if Dorgard or Purple mid laner want to make a play up there. Although I guess there's not too much Purple mid laner's gonna do with an Ornn up top. But I do think it's something for Dorgard to look out for. Of course, he did just get those 2 kills in that last fight, which means he is wildly ahead of Purple mid laner when it comes to the gold gap.
Yeah, it's been quite surprising. Purple mid laner, we did talk about they needed to be a little bit more impactful this game, work a little bit harder, but things have just not been working right now for this Maokai. 108 CS, and that's it. They do have the Demonic Embrace, which is halfway to where you want to be, so this damage could come in hot and heavy later, but so far their team is on the back foot, and they got to turn this around very soon because Dorgard has the Rift Herald in the inventory again.
I think one thing that's important that we pointed out in draft is Maokai needed to alleviate some pressure for his bot lane, and hasn't done it at all. And because of that, we're looking at a 70 CS gap in the bot lane. I mean, people say 15 CS is a kill, right? So, yeah, sure, we don't see a lot of kills on the side of high on Meeps in terms of them being...
Oh, Sangeesia greeted for that turret. Flame and Shock flashes out of the Jarvan ultimate. So they trade turret for life there. A second kill for Flame and Shock. Something for the Spartan shields.
That was not good for high on Meeps.
Yeah, it was not worth it. Dorgard was on the way bot. You could have just let him drop the Rift Herald.
You have a 200 gold bounty, and you just, like... What? I don't even really know what to say about that. Sir Genzi has done such a good job in these last 2 games, but that was a big mistake, and you can't be making big mistakes when you're against an undefeated team.
Yeah, and maybe they just felt like they were in such command that nothing could stop them, that they were gonna be afraid to maybe step up to this really strong Caitlyn, but Flame and Shock wasn't afraid of anything.
That being said, they are still up 70 CS. They are almost an item over Jhin, considering 15 CS basically equates to a kill, so that's what, almost an extra 4 kills in them. And we are seeing it when we look at the gold gap above us. Sure, it's only 4-2, but it's also 4K gap over 20 minutes into a game, which is huge for High on Me.
Yeah, we weren't really expecting this sort of thing to work out like this, but here we are, man. I mean, I'm really impressed with High on Meeps as a team. Even with that little mix-up by Sengicia there, that's really the only bad play that's occurred out of them this game. In stark contrast to last game, they've played super tight to the vest.
They definitely have been playing really tight, and it's been nice to see them be so surgical. The only problem with the slow pace like this is they can't be making more mistakes like Caitlyn just did, because they are outscaled. That's the biggest problem with High on Meep's team. With how slow it's been, Victor's going to outscale them, Orange going to help outscale them, and Jhin does a lot late game.
Yeah, really, they're going to have to shut down the Victor, but they do have the tools to do so. Keep Victor on the back foot with this Jarvan-Malzahar combination. See, they're going to look to take out this mid turret, while the purple mid laner is going to find an engagement onto this Caitlyn. They're going to drop the ultimate as well. Call the Forge God coming down, looking to hit multiple members. Narshil is going to fall. Dorgard will try to flash out of there, as all 5 members have shown up to defend that turret in the mid lane. It's a turret for kill trade, though.
I mean, not the worst trade. Like, this time it's a little bit different. It's Narshil and not a Caitlyn with a 200 gold bounty. You get the turret, it's about an even gold trade, really. You get a little more pressure on the map with this dragon coming up. So honestly, it might have been a decent trade for High on Meeps. If they can secure this Inferno Dragon and be on soul point in the next 30 seconds, I think that trade in the mid lane can be considered a good play.
Yeah, it certainly helps them out with the map pressure. Now they just need to take advantage of it. Keep shoving down that mid lane, get your wards down, and take full control of the pit.
Yes, and we see Darius is rotating over, Orange rotating over. This is going to be the first major 5v5 of the game.
And Shock could be in trouble.
Yeah, they're getting there pretty even here, though. They're arriving at the same time. Meeps are getting set up. Dragon is spawning in 3, 2, 1.
This game is a pressure cooker, and things are about to get crazy. 23 minutes into the game, a 4K gold lead for the Meeps, looking to put themselves on soul point here, looking to win their second game of the season and put a blemish on the Spartan shields. Donut moving forward. Berserker coming from the side. They've landed on top of the Karma. Sir Kama gets pulled in. Dorgard goes for it. They're going to be able to pick up one. King Kim G can't get in. It's 2 kills. It's a 5v3. Dorgard, though, is a little stuck. Narshil going to flash over the wall. They've got their ultimate going. Call the Forge God is going to land on 2 members. Narshil gets blown up as there was no support for them. But it's a 4v3 right now. Low health bars on Berserker and Dorgard. They're going to try to take this by force. 3 full health members. FCG trying to get some poke down. King Kim Chi wants to get in there. Berserker flashing forward. Double apprehend. There's a suppression. There's a chance, but Flame and Shock is going to blow away the Darius. Donut flashing forward. FCG still alive. Dorgard flag and drag knocks up nobody. Sengicia is going to be able to take out Flame and Shock, but is now in trouble themselves because Kim Chi does a lot of damage, but Sengicia is able to survive, get the kill. They have Ace in the Hole available. They just need vision. Why aren't you using your ultimate, Sengicia? Just shoot the Victor, please!
Oh, what? Although that team... Oh, it's not even done.
Oh, trying to get in there. Sir Comet's respawned. This dragon, it's got too much HP. Purple mid laner is full HP. Big shutdown. Dorgard going to engage. FCG still has enough HP. Sengicia is just trying to do the dragon, but the jungler is here to secure it. And that'll be the first Drake picked up for the Spartan Shields. A crazy drag out, knock him out fight. And it results in a 4K gold lead still for the side of the Meeps.
And you'll notice that how much damage Victor is doing. He has his upgraded Leandres now, but I have to say, Meeps were 2 auto attacks of that fight being the game-winning fight for them. and they didn't do it. There were two massive mistakes we've seen in that fight. First off, you called it out. Senjisia did not ult the Victor.
Why?
Vision! They had vision when he walked into the bush.
It's crazy. It's crazy because if they drop the ult, they win that fight. If Victor can't get in there anymore.
But the best part is, too, that dragon went to 1207 HP. They have upgraded smites here. You know how much an upgraded smite does? It does 1200 damage. Jonathan, instead of auto-attacking that dragon one more time, clicking smite, and then going to help his team, prevents them from ever walking back to that dragon. So even if Caitlyn doesn't use the ace in the hole, they have soul point, and they just can walk away. And they didn't!
Hyle and Meeps potentially cracking under the pressure, but Berserker in the top lane. Wait, I thought they were going to get a kill, but Sir Comet's here. No, they pick it up anyway. Now, here comes the ultimate from the Maokai. Maokai able to pick up the kill. It's a 1-for-1 overall. But yeah, you are correct. Hyle and Meeps just took their eye off the ball for a minute there. And, you know, it could have gone so far in their favor, but it doesn't this time around.
I gotta be honest, it's hard. It's really hard, especially when you're against a top team like Spartan Shield, and you're coming in a position where we're getting about halfway through the season. Games are starting to really matter, especially if you're where Spartan Shield is. You don't want to be one of those teams knocked out before the playoffs even happen. They, honestly, for a team where you see them and you're like, oh, they're just 1-4, they've played outstanding. But the thing is, when you're against a top team, you can't let mistakes like that go by. And we're noticing it's hard when you're in the seat, but they can't let themselves crack. And if they're going to win this game, no more mistakes can be made. Yeah, they have 4K gold, but they get outscaled. It doesn't matter how much your gold gap is when everyone's full build. They need to start finding ways to close out this game.
It'll certainly help once Senjisia picks up their Infinity Edge as they're getting close to it. You can see the Caitlyn does a fair amount of damage, but it was doing not all too much to this Ornn, who is so incredibly tanky. And even some of those auto attacks that went onto priority targets not doing nearly enough. So the extra crit damage would be a huge boon. But item-wise, I mean, Malzahar can get a lot bigger as well.
Malzahar has a lot of room to grow, but he doesn't grow as fast as someone like Victor or Jhin, who both right now have their ornaments. Of course, Leandra's Lament on Victor and Typhoon on Jhin.
Oh, Dorgard? Dorgard dropping the ultimate, forcing the flash out of that Jhin. A big mistake from Flaming Shock. A little too far up. Meanwhile, Berserker still doing their thing against King Kimchi. Still has the Anathema's chains down on them, but now the extra damage that they take just does not matter.
The big thing you'll notice about getting this late in
the reduced damage they deal, I'm sorry, does not matter. You know what I meant.
No, could you explain it to me in, like, if you were talking to a fifth grader real quick? What does it mean when Athema is on a... Click
button on enemy do less damage, enemy stun longer.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Are You Smarter Than an Iron 4? Today, Yanni explains Athema's chain.
Are you smarter than a play-by-play? Three members showing up to the bot lane here. They want to push off Berserker, who has really created an immense amount of side lane pressure this game.
The one thing you have to notice, though, with Berserker having Ghost, is that he doesn't have TP and Kimchi does, which means when he's down here, it's shocking to me that Spartan Shields doesn't go for Baron. You have the TP ready out of Ornn, and yes, you might lose a T2 turret, but that Baron can be much more than that. However, with him being down here and dragging up in 30 seconds, the time frame is lost, as we're going to see High on Meeps try to secure the soul point.
Yeah, and you know they weren't able to do it last time around, but you see everybody showing up to the bottom lane. Berserker not at full HP though, is at about 2/3, and as you mentioned, not having teleport is very relevant here. Berserker's just gonna have to chill out and try to heal up just by passive heal regeneration, which is not exactly what you want to see. Team is a little split here. Ornn down to the bottom lane. There's a potentially good flank. Purple mid laner can drop their ultimate at any time and hit multiple members. You can see Berserker cheating up a little bit. There's an ultimate from the Jhin, just trying to land a little bit of damage on multiple people.
Unfortunately, nothing hits.
He hit something. I heard that he hit something. Dorgard trying for an engagement was down to about half HP. Berserker on the side, looking to engage onto this Maokai. Force that ultimate out of the Maokai. Meanwhile, other side of the fight, Dorgard falls. Narshil falls. Donut and Sangesia are left alive, but running for their lives. Headshot proc does so much damage. Berserker was able to get a kill on the one side. Nice flash from Berserker. Sangesia on the other side picks up a kill, but FCG using the laser, getting kills, and it looks like Karma's gonna fall next. It's a 2v2. What an insane fight on both sides, but you know it's not over yet. Sangesia trying to do damage to this Victor from a range. Getting hit by a laser does so much, but here comes the teleport for King Kimchi. You mentioned how impactful it was going to be. King Kimchi now with full HP. Sangesia low. Donut has fallen, and now the Caitlyn's got to try to run away. The laser, oh, he biffed it just a little bit. Sangesia in full retreat here as King Kimchi reigns supreme in the river.
What a fight just broke out. So close. Mal's almost got a second proc of his ult. The one thing is they need to be targeting FCG. We completely wasted Malzahar's Nether Grasp of Death on Jin. And although that takes out a big threat, the biggest threat there is Victor. That needs to be on Victor if they're going to win a fight. Berserker did absolutely everything he could, handled both tanks. But if that Victor's alive, High on Meeps is not winning the fight.
Yeah, they're just letting FCG cook right now, much like last game. And you saw what he whipped up in the kitchen. It was a dub for the side of Spartan Shields. Dorgard trying to find a way in now. Unable to as this dragon gets lower and lower. You know he wants to get it. They're going to go for it. It's taken away by Narshil. And now the engagement from Dorgard, but he's going to get blown up. Berserker's going to fall next. And now the ultimate's flying around everywhere. Narshil trying to run point to protect Sangesia, but Sangesia falls. It's a triple kill for FCG. A 4-0. They lose the Drake, but they're going to get so much more, Romeo.
Here's the deal. High on Meeps have lost their advantage. High on Meeps
Are getting outscaled. High on Meeps are going to lose Baron. But in 5 minutes, there's an Inferno Drake. In 5 minutes, when they inevitably get there, because they will, they'll lose a base. They might lose an inhib, which is what they're going to try to defend against in this play. That dragon's going to be up. And if they get it, this match is anybody's game. Their win con right now is claiming the strongest soul known to Summoner's Rift. That Inferno Soul. And if they get that Inferno Soul, Caitlyn and Darius are as strong as they can be. So right now, if you're high on Meeps, these next 3 minutes are to turtle and survive until you have a chance to fight for what you need.
Farm up, put as much gold as you can onto Caitlyn. Let Darius get another item. You know, the Sterix Gauge looks like it'll be in the cards. It's possible. It's been done, but they had such a huge advantage and were unable to capitalize and really push it over the finish line. And now we're here in the scenario where it's a 1,500 gold lead for the Spartan Shields. You know, listen, they're not called the Spartan Spears. They're called the Shields for a reason. Able to buckle down, weather the storm, and now they are advantaged.
They definitely are. They've done exactly what the 300 do and build a wall. Don't let you get to their base. And then when they're ready to fight, they take it. And that's exactly what they did. There's 1,000 gold shutdown onto FCG, which would look pretty nice if it goes onto Caitlyn or Malzahar or Darius, to be completely honest. But they need to build their walls around Victor and Jin and make sure that that Nether Grasp doesn't touch them as we get closer and closer to this dragon spawning. They haven't done a whole lot with their Baron just yet.
You know what the Phalanx is?
I do know what the Phalanx is. A great war
That's
strategy.
exactly what's going on here. The Spartans going to the Phalanx, and it's just thematically on point here, as they've done a good job protecting that Victor. But can they protect the Maokai, who's taking a lot of damage? Here comes the ultimate down from the Jin. It's going to deal a little bit of damage themselves, but look, they caught out the Victor. Victor could be in trouble. Very, very low. Gets knocked up and falls, but Sangesia is left all alone, and Flame and Shock is in hot pursuit. Other side of the fight, Donut able to get a kill. Dorgard flashing, but it's a flash from the Jin, and they're able to survive. Caitlyn able to get the heck out of there, but Donut in a lot of trouble. Ace in the hole, going straight for Sir Comet, and Sangesia, I think it's the first time I've seen him use that ability this game, and it results in a kill. Flame and Shock burning away. Shut down for Donut, and the High on Meeps shocking Spartan Shields out of their shoes.
That proves exactly what's going to need to happen again for High on Meeps in 1 minute and 40 seconds. They just got so much gold onto Malzahar and Caitlyn going into this next fight. Almost a full item for each of them. Mal's finally buying the heal cut this team desperately needed to counter that Primordial Dawn on the Ornn. This fight was a precursor to exactly what needs to happen. High on Meeps proved they can win despite how scaled Spartan shields are. Berserker and Kimchi, not there for that fight. Will that have an impact in 1 minute? We'll have to find out. But the time is ticking as the climax to this game 2 comes to its head.
FCG didn't wait for the full phalanx to show up, as we were just talking about, and they got run on by 4 members surrounding that Victor while he had gone golden. I don't even think he was able to burn his ultimate, and High on Meeps, it means they're the first to the dragon. You see Berserker is on his way down. Dorgard using a smite here. I don't think it's really going to matter too much because it's 40 seconds, but you'd really like all of the members to be here. No teleport available on the Victor. There is a teleport for the Ornn, but he has joined the rest of the team as they look to set up.
The mid lane being pushed out from High on Meeps here. That, of course, will give them a little bit of priority going to this dragon. Of course, bot side going to be pushed out by Spartan shields. It's the trade that's going to be made as we enter the river and get ready for people to get hit.
This is where purple mid laner's impact is really going to be felt. Look at this. They find a root on a Berserker. It does a lot, but a headshot onto Sir Comet. That one hurts. Maokai on his 2-item spike right now, looking for a little bit more. 2 items usually on about all of these members right now, and you see those Victor lasers hurt real bad. Flaming Shock looking to drop the curtain call down and land a couple of hits. Narshall is going to get a hit up twice, but it's no big deal. Mid-wave pushing in. Nobody there to follow it, though, because there is no teleport available, so they can't leverage that. Dorgard on the side. They're going to get engaged on purple mid laner. Just trying to do some damage, land some poke. There's a big root. The Chaos Storm lands. Donut is dead. Purple mid laner dropping the ultimate, splitting the fight. Double kill for FCG. And that's going to be a kill over for the Jhin as they take out the Swain. And the Dragon secure it for purple mid laner. Sengisia has nowhere to go. They're going to fall next. 4 for nothing. And that one could mean a whole lot. No wave for the side of the Spartan shields, though, as it looks like Berserker trying to do what they can to take out this turret, but they're going to get caught here in a little bit. Teleport coming down for King Kimchi to the bot lane. Berserker in a lot of trouble, but he's going to land the dunk. He's getting hit up by the turret a lot. He can't heal that much, and it's going to be an ace. Was able to take out a key member. Victor looking to start to maybe move down. He's just farming. He's just farming. He's got no wave. Help out your duo in the bot lane here. They don't have a whole lot of pushing power. Dorgard up in 7 seconds. Donut's going to be up soon, and it looks like Spartan shields are going to have to pull off here.
I fear that fight went so poorly for High on Meeps and maybe a spell of what's left to come. Of course, it could have been a lot worse. Berserker did as much damage control as he could there, but we had Dorgard engage all by himself. There was never another grasp onto FCG because his whole team mounted around him, and that meant there was no getting to that Inferno Dragon. We still seen Sengisia almost steal it, but I feel like in this game, a lot has been left to be desired from Sengisia's play when we compare it to what happened last match after their whole team's been built around him. A lot has happened. Of course, we thought that fight may have been what determined the game, but it turns out there's still a lot to go. The gold gap's still very close. Of course, Rabadon's and fucking Zanya's. We got voice.
Whoa, excuse me.
We got yes, indeed.
I heard that. We got a full boat here on Victor.
We got a boat on Victor.
Trying to say.
Yes.
Victor has hit critical mass, and I think that's a big reason why Sengisia hasn't been able to cook right now. The chef is showing up right now. We see the Baron getting started up here by purple mid laner. They're taking a lot of damage. This could be really bad, but Narshall in a lot of trouble. Nethergrass was going to go down. They were going to trade 1 for 1, but he's gone golden. Dorgard gets run over by the Ram, and it's going to be a kill for the Jhin. And FCG able to pick up a kill, but purple mid laner is going to go down. This means that this Baron is takeable. I don't think that's going to be the case here. It's a 3 for 1 right now. And things not going well for High on Meeps. They're falling apart under pressure.
They had such an early game here, but now we see the 5K gold gap 40 minutes deep, only on the opposing side as the Spartan shields become the Spartan swords and runettes and GC.
The Spartan spears, excuse you. You know they use spears, but it looks like they're dual-wielding spears right now. Yes, we know they are the Spartan shields, but Spartans also carry spears. FCG and Flame and Shock, they've discarded their shields to dual-wield spears at this point because these boys are eating right now. So much damage coming out from these hyper carries.
Yes, indeed. And I mean, Spartacus used a sword, right? And
Spartacus isn't a Spartan, though. Let's be
what?
honest. Spartacus is a
What?
real Spartan.
Right here, I see FCG as Spartacus, and that laser as a sword going through the hearts of every single one of his enemies.
Nah, bro. Leonidas, man. Leonidas is the true Spartan.
Okay. Okay, fine. He's Leonidas.
All right, there you go. See, listen, I'm Greek. I'm Greek.
it's-
All right, like. You know.
Listen. Okay, you know what? You know what else is I actually. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and nor were Spartan shields in this game.
You're right. It was built. It was built over the course of 41 minutes.
And in 41 minutes, they have become more powerful than Rome could ever dream to be.
Hey, listen, the Roman Empire did fall, but I don't know if it's gonna fall this game.
I mean, if the last 10 minutes are anything to go by, the hopes aren't high. But we also have been yet to see Donut land a Nether Grasp on FCG since FCG has scaled. He's been using it on champions like Maokai, like Ornn. If he can find an opening,
Just get in there.
Any misplay at all from FCG, if he can stick that Nether Grasp through their shields and land it on Victor, that could be a winning fight.
Well, we're gonna see a fight very soon. The Dragon once again coming up, 6th Dragon of the game. Still a soul point for the side of High on Meeps. They have control of the river. We've seen this before. The teleports are available for the side of the Spartan shields if they want to get creative. Gonna drop the curtain call down. It's not gonna land on very many members. It did very little damage to Dorgard. In fact, you can't even see it. But they have taken control of the river because of that. Have the Spartan shields. Dorgard is on one side of the fight. The rest of the team's on the other. And these Victor lasers are just obliterating, tearing them apart. Frickin' Sharks with a frickin' laser beam on top of its head. And Dorgard and the rest of the Meeps, I think they're just resigned to try to go for the Dragon Steel at this point, Romeo. You see the redemption going down. Dorgard gonna have to wait for an opportunity. They're gonna get in there. It's loose, and it's taken by FCG. And now the Spartan shields are on Soul Point, and they've taken out the jungler of the Meeps, and they're on the offensive.
Wow, Dorgard's so close to stealing it. It went down to 800 HP, but they're just so strong, each individual member. And here it goes as they try to siege the base of High on Meeps once and for all.
It shouldn't be that difficult. FCG has gone golden, but Donut's nowhere to be seen to help out. Knock up from Kim Chi, and he's gotten on top of Sangeesia. Berserker in a lot of trouble, rooted up, taking a lot of damage. Narshil trying to run point and create some space, but they fall next. Berserker goes down, Sangeesia goes down, and the last hope for the Meeps has been extinguished. The Nether Grasp will finally land on the Flame and Shock, but Flame and Shock doesn't care, able to pick up the kill, and the Spartan shields fight hard, and they're gonna take a 2-0 series victory.
Spartan shields shall remain undefeated as they go and close out this game.
That was a fantastic game.
That was
a really fun game to watch because I think we saw, yeah, they got outscaled and, it's kind of rough to see that happen, but I liked what High on Meeps did. They played very high level League of Legends, which is, not something that you really expect to see all that much.
For a team that's as low in the standings as they are, they put up such a fight against Spartan Shields. I think the biggest problem as a team they're having is trying to play into their win cons. They had such a good early game, and then the other problem we've seen was the pressure seems to have really got to them. Especially Sangeesia had all the pressure on them to really try to carry that team throughout the course of the game. And we noticed, like, it's the little plays that the little mistakes that really added up. It started with them dying for the first turret. Yeah, it's even gold, but you're giving up a bounty. You're giving up what could be a further gold gap. It's when we see Donut go in and choose to ult Maokai instead of Victor. Yeah, you're getting a pick, but you're leaving Victor on the table. It's things like not confirming Soul and doing that extra auto attack in favor of going to help your team when that one auto attack can prevent so much more going down the road. If Hyo and Meeps can clean that up and find themselves in a playoff spot where we could see this rematch occur, it could be a whole different story.
It really could be. And hopefully we will hear a story trying to get an interview with FCG. We should hopefully have word on that very soon, but we're going to take a very short break while we get all that set up. Do not go anywhere. We'll have an interview with the mid laner of the victorious Spartan Shields, hopefully. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you all for waiting. We have the player of the hour. We have FCG of the victorious Spartan Shields. Congratulations on your victory today.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So your rise is fearsome. You know, doing the homework, I saw that it was pretty disgusting. Were you surprised that you got rise today?
Well, honestly, I don't play that much Rise outside of the league. Like, I only played one game last week on it, but since he's so strong right now, might as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad to see that you didn't take water walking. You weren't a cheater,
I'm
unlike
not a cheater.
Perks.
No cheaters here.
Oh,
Yeah,
come on.
no cheaters here. So yeah, it looks like that rise pick paid off pretty easily. What
Oh,
were
yeah.
you seeing out there that made it just flow so well?
I don't know. I think like looking at what Donut plays like the with the control mage version of control mage instead of Cassin, Rise is just so strong and tanky in that team. Like game one, drafting was like I knew once I got fed enough I couldn't die.
Now, going into game two, you got to lock in Victor and you got to scale really well that game, although your team was down 5k gold going into the later stages of the game.
Yeah.
How did your team being behind that significant amount of gold in the later fights change how you were going to play the team fights?
Like from draft, we kind of knew how we were supposed to play fights, just to play them slow, just poke them out and let them come into us. Just the one blunder like that early fight, it just after we lost that gold lead there, we just knew we just had to wait out and outscale, and just poke and one shot them.
Poking and one-shotting is generally what your team likes to do. I think you guys drafted a pretty solid team composition, and what was really the most pleasing thing to me, at least, is that you guys understood your win conditions and how your team operates, and you executed it to near perfection. You didn't, run and make any crazy plays or anything like that went down. And out of all the teams that I've seen in this league so far, it seems like you guys understand the way your team composition is supposed to operate the most. So tell me, as one of 3 undefeated teams, do you think that you're the best out of the 3 between you, Final Bastion, and Never Lucky?
Well, I don't want to banter, but Never Lucky's been pretty vocal in a lot of chats, and I think we face them week 8, which is gonna be a while from now. So if they keep it up, we're gonna show them who's on top. I think we're definitely a contender.
All right. Is there anything going into these games, right? We've seen Final Meeps. They did put up quite a fight against you guys. Is there anything your team thinks they need to focus on as you prepare for these later weeks and to start going against one of the other 2 undefeated teams left?
Probably just better scouting and less mistakes early, because what we play, if we do well early game, we know we can always win.
Alrighty, FCG, thank you so much for that interview. You heard it here, folks. It's a pretty good team. They're really waiting to go up against some of these greater teams in this league. Never Lucky likes talking a lot of smack. But that'll be it for us here tonight. FCG, thank you so much for the interview. Congratulations on your victory.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, that is it for the stream this evening, but we have more action for you tomorrow night, I believe. We got what do we got going on? Oh, I just had it here.
Tomorrow
I'm
night,
the worst. All right, I got it.
9 p.m.
I got it. 9 p.m. We got Final Bastion. We got CB Frost going at it. I won't be around for that, but I'll be tuned in while I'm working. What are you doing for that, Romeo? You tuning in?
I will, at the very least, be tuned in. I might be casting it.
Okay.
I'm not sure yet. We'll know closer to the time. But I guarantee you it will be a hell of a game. We've seen CB Frost pretty early on in the first couple streams, and they're a great team. Final Bastion, of course, one of the undefeated teams left. So it should be a really intense game tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yep, and we will see you there. But that is it for us here tonight. So for myself, our interviewee, I should say, FCG, Romeo, our producer Snow. Thank you all for being here with us tonight. We hope you enjoyed all the action we had to provide you, and we hope to see you next time for some Phoenix Esports League action.